Good day, everybody. I'm your host, Jedi Hill, and today we're talking about freedom, different aspects. And today you're going to find out it's not all about the money. I'm going to be talking to my friend here, Darren Mancuso. He's a custom home builder and also works with EXP Realty, so they can sell you the home, remodel it, build you one from scratch, whatever works to fit your fancy. So really cool to have some people on the inside on the housing market here today. Thank you so much for being on there, Darren.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So right before we got on here, I mentioned, the show is about freedom. And, what was your response to that initial question of, understanding what freedom is?
Yeah, I think initially, when people get into business for themselves, they think, oh, I'm going to spend more time with my family. I'm going to go on more vacations. And it's about chasing the money. And I need to make money. I need to make more money. And you end up chasing the money. And then I feel like once we were starting to make more money, then we started looking at our lifestyle going, oh my gosh, like we don't have a life. We can't go anywhere. We can't do anything because we're the business, instead of, we weren't business owners. We just had high paying jobs at that point. And then we had to go back and think about how do we restructure our business so that we could actually be business owners and really be free. It was more about the lifestyle. Freedom. Yeah, it was more about the lifestyle. And then you have to become, instead of just being a really good worker, you have to figure out how do I become a good leader? Because you have to be able to recruit and you have to be able to hire other people that can do the things that you are doing in your business so that you're not the only person doing everything. And that's how my wife and I started. We did everything in the business.
And you burn yourself out when you do that. You really do.
We did. And we just, I think the more you want the money, though, the more you're willing to just keep grinding. And so the motivation for us was really strong, longer than what it needed to be. If we would have burned out a little bit quicker, we probably would have started down this path of how do I replace myself and how do I find the best project managers? How do I find the best real estate agents, designers, social media, marketing managers? And we just kind of replaced ourselves one employee at a time until now the business is doing way better than, there's no possibility. Eventually you hit a ceiling when you're the person that's responsible for everything.
Well, yeah, there's only so many hours in a day. You can only be so busy, and the mental draining stuff of all that little being pulled every which way.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you need to be able to figure out, it's like, what can only I do?
Yes.
What can I hire out? Who, not how?
Yeah. In the beginning, though, you feel like no one can do what you do. That's the task. And I think everybody's personality is different. But for us, the more control that you feel like you want to have over something, the less you want to give up. But you don't realize until I made this analogy a little bit ago. I said, if you end up losing an employee for some reason, like say your bookkeeper or whatever, that's a good example. And then all of a sudden you go, oh my gosh, I'm losing my bookkeeper in 2 weeks. I'm going to have to do the bookkeeping. And you go, oh my gosh, that's terrible. And you can't find another bookkeeper fast enough because you're like, I don't want to do that, but before you felt like, oh, I don't want anyone in my books because that's personal, or I don't want somebody writing and paying my personal bills because that's, for some reason, you feel like that's very personal. But once you start to give those things up, I can't remember the last time that I wrote a check or paid any of my own personal bills. It's been probably over 10 years. And it's just a mental hurdle that you gotta overcome in order to free yourself from things that you don't even realize you don't want to do.
Right? Just be able to like, hey, I'm just gonna go do whatever I want to do today. I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. Yeah, if you guys want to say take in some of the scenery right here, we're down in Austin, Texas, and it's absolutely unbelievable. So green, and I had no idea how green Texas was till I got down here, and I'm like, this is my new favorite place. So
Yeah, I thought it was a desert down that way for half the state.
yeah, that's the thing that comes to mind when you think of Texas. But man, it's absolutely greener than green down here. So
Good cattle ground if it wasn't used for a golf course.
yeah, yeah.
So you learned how to replace yourself and going after the time freedom. And that's pretty much where it starts, right?
I think for us, it got to the point where we physically couldn't fit anything else in. Like you try to get more productive, and you do all those things to yourself. Say, how do I get more productive? To the point where you actually hit a ceiling, and then it's not physically possible. You can't. You could only do so much, and you can only focus on so much at one time. And then we just hit a point where we said, okay, we need to get someone. And the crazy thing is even when we hired our first assistant, I can remember back, I thought to myself, what are we going to give her to do? I almost felt like there wasn't enough for her to do. And then I think once the floodgate opened and I said, okay, wow, this is easy. And I just kept giving her things to do and she kept doing better and better and better. And then it started to free me up a little bit. And that kind of started the whole thing. And the other thing that I had to wrap my head around is like, okay, let's say you need to hire $100,000 project manager, okay, for construction. And it's very scary because most people, small business owners, are also living and eating off of the money that's being generated from their small business. So anytime you go to invest money, that is you're very much emotionally making those decisions, whether to hire $100,000 person or not, because it takes away from your bottom line. And so,
Okay, hold on there. You
yeah,
make a very good point. It's for most people, it's an emotional decision
yes,
as opposed to a logical business decision.
that's correct. Yes. So luckily for us, what happened along the way though was business got very difficult around 2017. We had some issues with contractors. We were upside down on a bunch of our projects. And so we really took a hard look at our business and we said, okay, that's when passive income started to play a big part, where we started to sell a flip house, take the profits, give the money back to the private lender. And then instead of going and buying another flip house, we'd say, hey, private lender, we don't have another flip house for you to put your money back into. How about this rental property? And we started to sell a flip, buy a rental, sell a flip, buy a rental. And along with the way that the rents increased and appreciated in the areas where we bought, we basically replaced our income 3 or 4 times over with rental properties. And so every month on the first of the month, the money comes in and we're like, wow, that was another aha moment for us where we're like, okay, I never thought I wanted to own a rental property. I wasn't interested in that. I was interested in chasing big paychecks from flipping houses. And I didn't want $100 check from a rental door. But the difference is that we did that work, 5 years ago now, and the money just keeps coming in. And in fact, it keeps increasing. And we get write-offs against on our taxes and depreciation, and the value of the buildings is appreciating, and the rents keep going up $25 a month per door. And so what going back to what we said was, it took away the emotional decisions that we needed to make for our construction business and our real estate business, because I could say, you know what, we need to hire $100,000 person. And there was still some emotion there, but I was way less emotional about it because I knew that all of our living expenses were covered multiple times over. And so it allowed me to hire not one project manager, but 3 project managers. Then I hired a production manager. Then we hired a marketing manager. Then we hired a new full-time designer. Then we hired a salesperson, another salesperson. And so it just was like pieces on a chessboard at that point. It's like, what do I need? And just just kept adding the players. And so you can't really do that if you're worried about your bottom line today, but think about 24 months from now or 36 months from now, what is your bottom line going to look like then? And it's explosive. It's like an explosion because you have the right people.
Well, and that comes back to being able to be leading the group and, be focusing on the vision of what you're looking to build.
Yes. Yeah. Now you're a business owner and you're really just trying to hire the very best people that you can find, and also working with them so that they understand the vision of the business. And so for Mancuso Homes, because we're a high-end remodeling company and a custom home builder, every little detail to us is very important. So when you look at our social media, everything has to fit the brand. And that's also very important. You can't just slap things together, especially when different businesses require different amounts of that. But I think that we really focus in on the brand, and everything has to be. So when we hire somebody, that's a little bit of a work in progress where we're trying to take the skills that they have and help them integrate those into our business model and our brand.
Well, and that's building your company culture as well.
Yes. And that's the other thing that we just, we took a look at our schedule and we said, you know what, every quarter we're going to do a team building event. We're going to go race go-karts. We're going to go blow glass. We're going to go to I think there's a kitchen that we're going to go all cook together and make a meal and then sit down and eat together. So then you could start to do these really cool, fun things like, our Christmas parties at the Marble Room, and you could start to do those things because the employees that we have and the company that we have is very important to us, and we want to make sure that they feel like that they are important. So,
well, and you're also building a legacy for an entire community, not just your family. You're giving out to many, many families.
That's very true. And it goes beyond just the employees that we have. We work with a lot of suppliers. We work with a lot of subcontractors. Our real estate agents are working with clients every day. So you're right. The impact is beyond the walls of our company.
I like it. So, what tips can you give people along the way that, that are hunting for that financial freedom, the time freedom, the mental freedom?
Yeah. Well, again, I think real estate, there's a lot of people involved with real estate, but there's not enough people investing in real estate. And I think that's a big mistake. If you're a real estate agent, if you're in the business, but you're not investing in real estate, I think that's a mistake. And the value of real estate is just going to keep on going up. And it's really with the financial environment that we're in, where the dollar keeps on getting diluted and the government keeps on printing more dollars. The more real estate that you own, the more inflation proof you're going to be. So if you're buying real estate, it's basically you're playing, I'm trying to think of the right words here. You're almost playing the odds that the government's going to continue printing money. So that's where I'm definitely going to be strong is increasing. The other thing to keep in mind is the inventory of the inventory, specifically single family homes as well. They're being purchased by big companies like BlackRock. Other big hedge funds are coming in with millions and millions of dollars, and they're buying up all the single family residences, and they're not letting go of that inventory. They're just keeping it and they're renting it out. So I think that's the first thing. But if I were to rewind time, obviously you have to put food on the table. You have to pay your bills. You have to be able to put food on the table and pay your bills. So a certain amount of your time has to be dedicated towards earning cash. And so if
Mhm.
you're a beginning business owner, 80% of your time should be focused on that. 20% of your time should be building a brand and should be building passive income, so that, let's say that you're a real estate agent and you sold $10 million worth of real estate this year, right? Well, nobody cares what you did last year. What are you going to do next year? Well, most people don't want to do the same as what they did last year. They'd like to do more. So, okay, well, next year I want to do 12 million or 15 million. Okay, great. What you're doing though is you're setting yourself up for this never ending treadmill. And if you could just spend
Rat race.
20%, what's that? Yeah, yes, you are in business for yourself, but you are the business, and you're not a business owner. You're a high paid employee at that point. The better you become at your trade, the more the phone's going to ring, the more busy you are, the less lifestyle you'll have. And you're very much important in every aspect of that business. So if you could take 10 or 20% of that time and dedicate it towards building your wealth, building passive income, building money that you don't have to get up and get out of bed for. And I don't mean just put it in the stock market or invest it in a 401k. I mean, really invest it in something that's going to produce passive income. It's going to produce tax shelters for you. It's going to appreciate in value, all those things, so that next year in January, when you wake up, you don't have to sell $10 million worth of real estate in order to keep your lifestyle. Your lifestyle is going to go up because I can sell $8 million worth of real estate next year, for example, and still maintain my lifestyle. And then I want the 20% that I keep building my brand and keep building my passive income. And that was the major reason why we moved the whole team from Remax, which was a brokerage that I loved that brand. I loved my broker, but it just simply couldn't offer me the opportunity to expand my business globally without any more financial liability, any more liability at all in that matter. So that was a major reason for the change, is that I could build passive income that's going to also add to the other income that we have coming in, and not add or take away from my lifestyle.
Oh, and you've done a lot of the vertical integration as well, because you have the construction companies to repair the units you buy. So you're giving the workers more work, plus each unit you fix is a little more residual income added up over time.
Yes. Yeah. It just happened this way. We're not this genius mastermind of, but we get up every day and we try to improve ourselves every single day. And I think by doing that, if you're constantly looking to improve yourself a little bit each day, then you find these things, and because you're constantly trying new things, and I'm not saying you're making major adjustments on a daily basis, because then you're just kind of wandering aimlessly. But if you're, you can't wake up every day and say, oh, let's change direction. Let's try this. And then, oh, let's try this. But you're constantly trying to improve yourself every single day, and what you're doing and your brand. And you start to find these little gemstones of knowledge, and then you find yourself a good mentor and save yourself a whole lot of time, and you don't have to do all this on your own, and they'll kind of show you the path, at least, hey, just here, come this way. This is what you're trying to do. And so I guess that would be another thing that I would highly suggest is, if you're trying to do something and you don't want to reinvent the wheel, just find find somebody that already knows how to do what you're looking to do, and you either pay them or you partner with them. And that's the quickest way to get from, I think, even for myself, there's a lot of ego involved. Like, I got this. I don't need anyone to show me how to do it. I don't want to pay anybody. I don't want to, I'll do it all on my own. But looking back, if I would have made some of those partnerships or paid some coaches, that I think we would have shortened the timeline considerably on trying to get to where we are now.
You live and learn. It's, you can either learn with time and experience, or you can borrow somebody else's time and experience.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
I'm
So,
personally, some of my favorite mentors are books, whether you're
and
looking at personal development, finance, and the Rich Dad Poor Dad was a huge mindset change for me as it, I'm sure you've read that one with the
yep,
game you play.
absolutely. Um, the books are good to increase your knowledge and your skill. The coaches and the mentors and the masterminds for me is about the energy in the room. So I can tell if I haven't been in a mastermind or I haven't been up on a stage or something like that. I need to replug in. And usually what happens is after I plug into a couple day seminar or boot camp or whatever, where I go and I meet with other people trying to do what I'm doing, I suck up the energy from the room. And then when I go home, I'm like a ball of fire. Like I'm ready to go again. I'm energized, I'm motivated. And then I have coaches where I get on calls on a weekly basis because that kind of keeps the fire lit. And
Mhm.
it's not like I'm learning some magical thing every week from my coach. You know, a lot of times we need to be reminded about things more than we need to be told. You know, it's
Mhm.
we know these things that we're supposed to be doing, but just being that reminder every week and touching base with my coach kind of re-energizes myself. And I get off those calls, and that's probably the few hours after I get off the call is when I'm the most bold, maybe.
Ooh, nice choice of word.
Yeah, I mean, you get bold, you get courage, you have to have some courage because the moves that you need to make, you don't get the courage. You have to almost jump and then see some success from that, and then you get the courage later almost.
Yeah, take the leap of faith.
Yes, most people are sitting, a lot of people, a lot of agents, a lot of real estate agents are like, I really want to do that, but I just can't get over the fear. And
Mhm.
it's not that the fear is going to go away. You just have to realize this is what you want, and you have to make the commitment to that, whether the fear is there or not. And then once you make the commitment and you make the jump, then you'll feel comfortable later. So
Yeah. Yeah, I
that's
remember stories from generals like, telling private to get across the thing. It's like, no, you get the courage after you're already across.
yeah, that's part of small business ownership though, is you have to make moves with the fear. And it's not that we're just blindly making moves without being diligent or doing research or whatever, but there's comes a point where you have to be able to make decisions quick with not a lot of information.
Yeah. Well, and you make the really good point of where you're really starting to hit the freedom as you're getting past. You had to go through all these different things to like, oh, I started making money. Then I had to build a team. Now I have to get over my fears so I can go to the next level.
Yes, there's always next levels and fear at every stage. It's just at some point you have to be committed to whatever it is you want to do, and then once you make the commitment, then the courage comes later.
And it's, you fear less as you go through and through. It's like, hey, I've already done this. What's the worst that could
Right,
happen?
right. Yeah, and the more income streams you have and the more passive income you have, the less worried you have to be, because your lifestyle is not going to be ultimately, you're not going to go backwards in lifestyle.
Well, and you still, and I don't know about you personally, but it's like we always try and still remain frugal so you can be putting more away to invest in the next deal.
True. Yep.
And then you're
For
just
sure.
playing Monopoly in real life, which is really cool when you think about it.
It gets really fun. It's more of a game that way than, and it becomes a lot more fun. You're right.
Yeah, personally, I'm having blast playing the game, switching over to not just multifamily, but now looking at marinas. So it's kind of like an RV park on the water.
Wow, amazing.
Because I think we're really in a shifting time. So it's like, okay, where can we hedge our bets differently?
Mm,
Because we have the potential of the government going bust, so Section 8 could go bad on you.
yes.
Hopefully not. Hopefully not.
Yep. I hear you. Nothing's
Or everybody
foolproof.
goes Section 8 is the other way.
Yep.
And the Class A's, you're gonna have more people moving into the Class B just to try and save a little bit of money.
Yep.
So where are you looking at to, hedge your bets for the next couple of years in these crazy times we're in?
For me, it's at this point, it's just owning the best real estate that I can own in the best neighborhoods and holding on to it for life. It's not a short-term play. So I'm not as concerned about, I'm just looking at, let's just say you're going to buy a 25 unit building, okay? For, I don't know, $2 million roughly. That $2 million property now is going to be worth what in 10 or 20 years? And it'll most likely be paid for by then. So is that a grand slam? I know a lot of investors, they only want the grand slams. For me, that's a good double or triple, and there doesn't necessarily have to be huge amounts of value add. There doesn't have to be this huge grand slam play where I refi and pull out millions of dollars. It's the long-term play with that. So combine that with the opportunity EXP. I mean, you could there's people that are coaching me and mentoring me that make hundreds of thousands of dollars per month in passive income in under 4 or 5 years of working that aspect of the business. So, I'm not just doing one thing, but it does certainly help when you could work your way up to buying buildings in great neighborhoods. Cash flow is, let's say that we have enough cash flow to just maintain the building and carry it. And then next year, rents increase a little bit more. Okay, we're making a little bit more. We renovate some of the units, we make a little bit more. We pay the building down. We're getting the depreciation. We're writing that off against our other income, which is huge. And we didn't realize that either until we started to accumulate a bunch of real estate. And then we were looking at our tax bill and we go, oh my gosh, we just wrote off how many hundreds of thousands of dollars against our ordinary income. That is a really nice day when you look at your tax bill and you go, oh my gosh, I just saved.
Well, that's why Trump didn't want to share his tax bill, because he knew legally you can pay almost no taxes when you're investing in real estate.
Absolutely. You know what? I saw him just recently in a clip, and they were asking about paying nothing, and he said absolutely. He's like, I followed the tax code, and so did a lot of other people. And he named a whole bunch of people like Warren Buffett and Soros and all those guys. He said they're all doing the same thing. And that's why the government won't change the code, is because neither party can really change the code, because all of their supporters and donators are all giving them money. And that's what they're doing, is they're just following the tax code. So I don't think he really denied it. He's like, yeah, I followed the tax code. And I'm not saying I'm a supporter of Trump or Republican or Democrat or any of that. I'm just saying that if you're an investor in real estate and you don't use these laws to benefit you for your tax liability, that's crazy. Like, why would you not utilize those codes to help you save on your taxes? So
yeah, and you get to write off, your repairs, your depreciation, the employees, like it's
everything. Yeah. So it just depends on where you are in your business and what you're trying to do next. But I think the major points are, make sure that you focus some of your efforts on building passive income versus just chasing the next paycheck, because over time you can throw a $50,000 paycheck in your bank account like it never even happened. It just doesn't. It starts to become you kind of get numb to it. Like the money doesn't change. It doesn't change you, but what you have to do to keep up with those paychecks becomes a lot. And so if you can start to replace that, eventually you'll let it go. You'll let it go by hiring employees, by doing other things, and then you'll benefit because your company will start to grow beyond what you thought it could grow to anyway. So,
and we never stop growing because you're either growing or you're dying. So Darren, what is a good way for people to get a hold of you, and any last words on what, to do for freedom?
Yeah.
From the real estate perspective.
Yeah. I think, work hard every day, figure out what your plan is, have a destination, because if you don't know exactly, have a clear picture in your mind of where you're going and what you want to accomplish this year, you're kind of just going to be wandering around. So get really crystal clear on what your goal is, and then set up daily activities that you have to get up and make sure that these are the actual things that are going to move the needle. You can't just get up and be busy every day and go, oh gosh, I worked so hard today. And that doesn't matter. What matters is, what did you work on? And are you improving yourself and moving towards your B? And, get yourself a good coach. I mean, every productive person on this planet has coaches. Tiger Woods, multiple coaches, because they know that in order to get the most potential out of themselves, they can't do it themselves. They need somebody else to be able to see it and reach in and pull it out.
The accountability, yeah.
All of it. It's like, you can't push yourself hard enough like somebody else can push you to see the other side, or get you past your fears, or help you understand what the next level even is. Sometimes it's like, what you don't know, and until you're exposed to it and you're given a little taste of it, you don't really know what that next level looks like. So get a good coach. And if you want to get in touch with me, I'm really easy to find. I'm on social media, Darren Mancuso. I can send you a Calendly link if somebody wants to set up a free 30-minute strategy session with me. I'm more than willing to talk business with anybody. I love talking to people and trying to help them. From the outside, it's a lot easier for us to look at somebody else's business and go, oh, this is simple. You need this, this, and this. Like, sometimes you're in the weeds too much and you can't see what the problems are.
In the weeds. I like that. That's a good one to remember.
In the forest.
Move it away, move the weeds out of the way.
Yeah.
Because the forest through the trees, I just don't think most people get that one.
Yeah. I get the concept now. It's like, you need someone else to just look at what you're doing and go, oh my gosh, this is simple. You need to do this, this, and this. But then you gotta do it. You have to have the guts to do it, and the commitment to do those things that you need to do. And then life gets really a lot more fun.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Darren, and everybody. Make sure you like and subscribe. Down below, you can reach Darren Mancuso on his social media. This is Jedi signing off.